Hello everybody, and welcome to our webinar today. We will be discussing a topic that is pretty interesting here in Morocco, which is the Google working system and if it should be implemented in the companies here in Morocco or not. So to discuss this topic, I have some guests today. We have Kautar Rafiq, who is the people's operation, which is known in most companies as human resources manager in the Google company. We have Kamal, who is an employee in the Google company and who will give us some feedback and talk about how is it to be a Google employee. I will be talking next, and my name is Sarah. I'm the CEO of a Moroccan company here in Morocco. I have with me Rita, who is an employee in the Moroccan company, and she will be talking about how is it to be a Moroccan employee and what are the good points of our system and the bad points for her. Also, we have with us Kautar, is a young entrepreneur who is about to open her own company and who wants to actually implement the Google system in her company. And we have Zakaria, who is a critic and who have written a book about the Google system company. So we will be starting with Kautar, who will talk about the Google company. Hello, Kautar.
So first, thank you for having me. It is pretty well documented that Google has a unique culture. It's not the typical corporate culture. In fact, just by looking at pictures inside the Googleplex, you can see that it looks more like an adult playground, not a place for work. But Google's success can be attributed to this culture. Google has people whose sole job is to keep employees happy and maintain productivity. It might sound to you like it is kind of controlling, but it's how this word-changing organization operates. Google bases nearly everything off data. And while some of what's below may work best only for Google, there are surely other areas that can work for all companies, regardless of size. People operations are where science and the human resources intersect, and it's what keeps Google a top-performing company. I will be starting with how Google hires people. I will talk briefly about that. Well, Google gets over 2.5 million applicants each year. I mean, the Google hiring process is designed to hire the most talented, creative, and articulate people in the world who will be the best fit for Google. The Google culture is different. You notice it the moment you walk in campus. It isn't for everyone, but it works amazingly well for Google. Uh, the cultural fit is so important. What I mean by that is if you can't feel yourself working in a Google company, I mean, following the culture that is there, you cannot work, you cannot be productive and creative. So, as I said, each year Google gets over 2.5 million applicants. That's equal to 6,849 per day and about 5 per minute. And Google reviews each one. We review each application. So we start the process of hiring employees starts by recruiter screen. And it is the first step on the process. The recruiter screens every resume for technical requirements, education, and experience to make sure there is a potential fit. If there is not a fit, you will get a polite answer, of course, this saying, not fit at this time. response. But your resume will be kept on file. The recruiter really does look at existing resumes on file when a new job rec opens up. If there is a fit, a recruiter will contact you to set up a phone screen interview. The second step is the phone screen. Well, a recruiter will contact you, explain the process, and let you know what to expect. The recruiter might ask you, for example, your SAT scores, college GPA, if this is a technical engineer role, for example. Of course, even though I have, or you might have 10 years of experience, they will still ask you for numbers. The phone screen is usually done by an employee in a similar role and usually takes 30 minutes. So you should expect this. When you get interviewed at Google, you'll receive questions like, how many golf balls can fit in a school bus? There are 8 balls, 7 of them weigh the same, but one is heavier. Using a balance scale, how do you find the heavier ball with just 2 weightings? Questions like this. But the problem is, Google says that the answer is not as important as your thought process and how you think under pressure. What we care about is how do you react to the question? How you will find a way to answer this question. The worst possible answer would be a non-answer. For example, if you say quickly, I don't know, this won't get you a job at Google. The third step is the on-site interview. The first on-site interview will be with 4 or 5 people for like 45 minutes each. The interviewers might include the manager and other employees with similar roles. This interview will go deeper into your technical skills or domain-specific knowledge. If this is a technical role, you will be asked to solve some technical problems, as I mentioned before, which might include also some coding, a solution, or a boarding design. This can get pretty intense for unprepared candidates, or incredibly fun and stimulating if you are into it. The last step, which is not a step really, it's what we do, it's our hiring committee, is how do we accept people. There are hiring committees for each major job classification. The committee consists of senior managers and directors and experienced employees from this domain. They see all the potential candidates for all open jobs in this area, so they have a very good feeling for the required capabilities and availability of highly qualified people. The committee reviews every piece of feedback, as well as the resumes and work experience, educational background, your extracurricular activities. If there is a consensus agreement from the committee to recommend an offer, the candidate can go to the next level and can be recruited. I also want to talk about, we talked about how Google hires people, and part of how it attracts, retains, and keeps employees happy is by having a great culture with awesome perks. So let's go to the perks of being a Google employee. Obviously, you'll have free breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Organic food is chef prepared. We have a chef in the Google on our campus. You'll have free health and dental, free haircuts, free dry cleaning, massage, gym, swimming pools, hybrid car subsidized, video games, some benefits. So there are a lot of perks of being a Google employee. All these perks come at a cost for Google, but so does employee dissatisfaction and high turnover. There is a lot of competition an instance in Silicon Valley, and when you can retain your employees, it means less time and money. Um, this culture has paid off for Google as they consistently rank among the best places to work. We have been voted many times best campus and best organization where a person can work. Um, Now I want to move on to the idea of a culture built on qualitative and quantitative data. Human resources or people operations, as you might know, is a science for Google, at least. They're always testing to find ways to optimize their people, both in terms of happiness and performance. In fact, almost everything Google does is based off data. So it should come as no surprise that Google uses all sorts of data to help employees and improve their productivity. Let's start by lunch lines. Lunch lines, you know by now that Google offers free meals and snacks to all of its employees. So, what's the optimal lunch line? So at what point is too long where people waste time and too short where people don't get to meet in anyone new? What's the prime happy medium? So according to Google, to some studies that we conducted, it's about 3 to 4 minutes. It lasts for 3 or 4 minutes. Any longer, and they may waste time. I'm talking about the employees, and any shorter, and they don't get to meet new people. Now let's move to lunch tables. If you want employees to meet each other you should make the tables long. I mean, we have it in the Moroccan culture. Um, if you make the table long, people will discuss things, will get to know each other, and will talk. This will expose them to more people who they can get to know. Coming to the paid time off for new mothers. So Google found that women were leaving the company at twice the rate of everyone else. In particular, this occurred with new mothers. Google's maternity leave plan was 12 weeks paid time off, but recently we changed the plan so new mothers could get 5 months paid time off with full pay and benefits. They are also allowed to split this time up however they want. Um, Also, there is an interesting fact about the new employees in Google. Studies had shown that a warm greeting for new employees is very has a big impact. So, according to the studies we conducted, it turned out that when a manager greets a new employee with, for example, "Hi, nice to meet you. We're going to be working together and doing a few other things, something like that," leads to a 15% increase in productivity over the following 9 months. Who knew words could have such a lasting impact? The last thing I would like to talk about is dinner booths versus conference rooms. So the Google team have found that dinner booths work better than conference rooms for facilitating creativity. This is why we only organize dinner booths, because we want people to get to know each other, and we want our employees to feel comfortable, creative, have no problem with other employees. That's why we organize those dinner booths. So thank you. That was it.
Thank you so much, Qatar, for your explanations.
You're welcome.
We're moving now to Qamar, who is an aunt in the Google company, and who will be talking about her experience as an employee there. Thank you. Hamar, do you hear me? Hamar? I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes,
Can you hear me? Yes.
yes, we can hear you.
So thank you, Kautar. I think that Kautar gave you a clear image of how it works at Google. Now I will be sharing my experience as a Google employee. So first, before joining Google, I made extensive research to know how was the environment and the culture in this company. I found many things, but I couldn't truly experience the culture and environment of Google until I became part of it. So my concerning my hiring process, I went through 5 interviews, among which I was asked analytical questions, questions about sales and things that I was not expecting. I was asked to do some case analysis to get, but truly the output of it is just to test my leadership and how I fit in Google, because it's more into how do you fit, if you fit or if you do not fit. So basically, the 5 interviews went really good. I then joined Google, talking about my experience in the company. Basically, I think that Google is more like, as we call it, it's a campus. It's not really like a traditional company. We work more like a startup, knowing that we are a quite big company. We have some culture where everyone can exchange. Teamwork is highly valued. As in college, we all work together. It's more about creativity, how to find new ways of doing things. It's also an environment where we should be creative. We are given hours, 3 hours, in order to develop a personal project that is not part of our duties. As Kautar talked about, we have everything we need in order to be productive and in order to be happy and satisfied in the job. Any type of food you want, any type of breakfast you want, any type of activity you want, you are working with extraordinary people, because they only take the best people and the more suitable people for this environment. So once we are all together, there are no barriers. There is no how can I call that, hierarchy. We are all the same, we are all equal. The objective is just to give a great work, to have good results, and that's the common for so thank you.
Thank you so much, Hamar, for your feedback. Now, for me, as the CEO of a Moroccan company, I would like to talk about our system. First of all, you should know that the Moroccan working system is based on the Moroccan culture and is basically made like that so to fit the Moroccan culture. Um, the Moroccan system is actually following the type of working, and it's based on desks and timings that are specific working timings that are usually from 8 to 12 and from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., depending on the company. And actually, this is a good thing for Moroccans because it follows the culture of our employees, because we take in count that our employees have families, have other things beside of the work, and a lot of our employees have children who actually have school, so their working hours and their breaks should be compatible to the breaks and studying hours of their children. That's why we decided that the working hours would be like that. Other thing, like for example, when we are talking about Moroccans, it's also a different mindset than the European or the other countries in the world, and our mindset is not really allocated with fun and having free hours. It's more about having strict working conditions, and we have a lot of people should have to feel that they are actually underwatched, and they are more productive when they actually have desks and when they are in places when they can see people working with each other. Therefore, the companies needs in Morocco needs to be to have different a different working system than the one in actually Google, because here in Morocco, people tend to use the fact that they are working with other people and seeing them working in front of them as a motivation, because they need to feel that working mood and to be very adaptable to the working theory or ways of our companies, which is very much different from the way of working. Now, for the hiring process here in Morocco, we shouldn't forget that we have a big literacy problem. So the the people actually applying for don't usually have well, we don't have a lot of people who apply and have good skills and have the main requirements for the job. So we don't really have big choice of employees. Therefore, we can't really focus on the leadership skills or whatsoever as the Google company does, because we need to choose the the employees based on their education and the knowledge they have, because we believe that if you actually can do the work and have the knowledge that is required for that specific job, it's just that it's better than being than having additional requirements, because we have a system that doesn't really demand that the people should have leadership skills, because anyway each one will have a mission that he or she will have to complete and doesn't have to interact with any leadership or things like that. So that's why I really do believe that even if we try to implement the Google system here in Morocco, it will be very hard, and we still need a lot of time to change the mindset of the Moroccans and make the Google system a very like more adaptable to the Moroccans, because for now our culture and our behaviors don't allow us to have such systems in here in Morocco. And so that this is my opinion as a CEO, but I would like to let you with Rita, who is actually an employee in a Moroccan company and who will speak from another angle about the Moroccan system and what are the good things about it and the bad things about it. Thank you. Um, Rita, can you
Hello,
hear me?
everyone. Actually, I'm an employee in a Moroccan company. I work every day from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. with a lunch break from 12 to 2. Actually, what I really dislike concerning the Moroccan working conditions in a company is the fact that we work 8 hours a day with only a 2 hours break and no flexibility. I often get physically tired from an activity or mentally drained from focusing on projects, and moreover, eye strain from computer work also contributes to my fatigue. In fact, I could quietly sit at a desk for 8 hours straight and do absolutely nothing. Time should never be used to measure how we do the work. Since I have two kids, it is very difficult for me to manage it because my working hours don't really match my kids' school hours. That's why in our Moroccan culture, it is preferable for a woman to stay at home and take care of her family rather than work. In, in my opinion, if we complete the work assigned for a particular day, we should leave. It is preferable to leave rather than to stay in front of a computer for hours doing nothing. It is all about getting the work done. However, the only thing that I like concerning the Moroccan system in the workplace is the fact that we work in office because it made me able to learn more about how to behave in front of others. It was also an opportunity for me to learn about relationships with colleagues and employees and ways in which I can maintain them. In addition to that, my communication and interpersonal skills are boosted as well. Moreover, working in an office facilitates the face-to-face interaction between all the employees and colleagues. It is easy to get in touch with them when the need arises and speak about the matters that touch the company system. Personally, I'm that kind of person that cannot work from home because I must be distracted by my kids playing around me, and I'm more productive if I'm working at an office in a formal way. Now I will move on to say that I have to admit that the working conditions at Google system has a lot of advantages in terms of working conditions because especially that they have a nursery for the employees' kids. In addition to that, I like the creative idea of having toboggans that facilitate the movement from one office to another. I think that to working on those conditions makes people more creative and more productive. Moreover, I appreciate the fact that they don't have specific schedule hours or working hours. They just have to get the work done by the end of the day. Um, Personally, I would I would love to have the Google system implemented in a Moroccan company because it will boost people to work more and be more creative. Um, when people work in good conditions, it is barely known that they are more productive. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rita, for your feedback. Before moving on to Kautar, I'd like to welcome the new people who just joined us. And I would like to tell them that we are talking about the question if we implement in Morocco or not. And we had earlier the people operations of Google company, Kautar, who was talking. Then we have an employee in the Google company who Kamar, who gave us her feedback. I talked earlier about the Moroccan system and why do we implement it like that. And finally, we had Rita as an employee in a Moroccan company who just presented to us her feedback and her opinion about the Moroccan company. Now, I would like to let you with Kautar, who is a young entrepreneur who is about to open her own company and wants to implement the Google system. So, yeah, for your presence here today.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for everything that you've said so far. I've actually been taking notes of what you were saying because, just like Sarah said, we would like to implement the Google Frame within our company. But the thing is, we'd be the first Moroccan company to actually do that. And we don't know how that would fit within of doing our work around here. So there were many points that were raised by all of you, and I thank you for that. That pretty much show the advantages and disadvantages of both frameworks. However, there are aspects that we did not discuss that I personally take as possible issues that I would like to have some insight on. For example, there is no doubt that unnecessary extra work or extra time in your desk does not make you do your work better, and it does not time kind of people should have extra time to do other things and just be task oriented, that's for sure. However, the Google framework is a lot more than just that, and many of the things that were mentioned earlier are basically costly things. And that's one of the issues I personally have, because implementing fully the Google framework means that I need to think of many facilities that go beyond the structure of the company, and they're pretty costly. So I need to, I mean, the whole team needs to be on the same page when it comes to the positive outcomes that we would get by implementing the Google framework, because otherwise that would be a lot of loss generated by all the facilities that we would have to provide. And also, the issue that I thought of mainly is the fact that we would have to do that as a first here in Morocco. And the culture of work in Morocco is very different from the culture of work in the US. And I'm not sure that way of doing work, if I may say that way, would fit perfectly within our Moroccan society. Because there is no doubt that many points that compose the traditional structure of work in Morocco are easy to argue to be unnecessary or costly for no reason, or a little bit unfair, that's for sure. However, like I said earlier, the Google frame is so much more. For example, if we are more task oriented, then time spent in the desk oriented, as much as that would ideally and supposedly make people do their work better and have extra time for other things. Since we are not a culture that works with deadlines usually, I'm particularly scared that people would not meet those deadlines because they wouldn't have that to work regardless of the fact that you're not in the office. And more than that, people tend here in Morocco to dissociate themselves from work a lot. Work is that thing that we do to earn money in order to feed our families back home. Whereas in the US, work is a lot more than that. A lot of people are very much career oriented more than family oriented and make their whole lives around their career. I mean, I don't personally expect anybody to put their career first. That is a personal choice, of course, and that's fine. But the issue is that when we work with a big portion of our total employees that is more family oriented than career oriented, and then implement this framework that just allows them so much, let's say, free time and if not free time, at least time away from the office, and particularly that would mean even less productivity, and that is absolutely not what we intend to achieve, because of course if we want to implement the Google framework, we expect improved productivity and not an increase in productivity, not a decrease, of course. So that would be one of the things that I wanted to point out, and that is really just one example among many others. For example, as the Google employee Qamar said before, we are normally supposed to provide many facilities in order for people to, let's say, blow off the steam of work, and that's, I think that's personally, I think that's an amazing idea. But beyond the fact that it's costly and could be a kind of big financial leap for us as a startup to do, and then end up with a failure, we also would like to take the cultural angle of it, because like we said before, we are in a different culture here in Morocco, and we are not so much of a sports culture in the adulthood. Because the thing is, a lot of, as much as we used to be very sports oriented while younger, there is no doubt that statistically speaking, less and less people are actually interested in sports and leisure activities that are outdoorsy, starting a certain age. And since we require, of course, in our company, a certain level of experience and a certain level of education, there is no doubt that we have a certain age range, I'd say, that is pretty high. And that means that we employ more people that would not be much interested in those extra features than people who would actually be potentially and statistically interested in those features. So those are the main points that basically make me pretty skeptical to the effectiveness of implementation of such a framework here in Morocco. However, there is still a way for us to somehow try and find some middle ground. I'm still here to get more information. Of course, pretty hard to come to a final and just cut clear where I stand on this point, because a lot more studies to be made.
Thank you so much, Kautar. I actually do agree with you on every single point you have mentioned. And that's exactly why I believe that the Google working system isn't, Morocco isn't really ready yet for the Google working system. So next, I would give the floor to Zakaria, a critic who has written a book about the Google system and who will share with us his ideas.
Well, hello everyone. Well, actually, I'm here to show you my point of view about the bad side of working for Google. Because actually, I published a study based mainly on discussion with employees, and I came up with some good conclusion, at least. So first, let's start. Google is awesome, so they can hire the very best people to do not even the most mundane jobs. As Kautar said, they have at least 2.5 million applications, which is huge. The worst part of working at Google for many people is that they're overqualified for their jobs. Google has a very high hiring bar due to the strength of the brand name, the pay, and the perks, and the very positive work culture. As a result, they have their pick of bright candidates, even for the most low-level roles. For example, I discussed with Joe Canella, who is a former senior account manager, who says basically you end up spending the majority of your life eating Google, coworkers, wearing Google gear, talking in Google acronyms, sending Google emails on Google phones, and you eventually start to lose sight of what it's like to be independent of the big G. So we can say as well that it's hard to be honest with your colleagues. According to Vlad Patrichev, who is a former software engineer, it's really hard to discuss any issue unless it's your friend you are talking to. Objective discussions are pretty rare. Since everybody's territorial are not interested in opinions of others unless those people are important gods. The company as well cares only about measurable improvement. I discussed this with Katie Levinson, who told me that any improvement not based on a hard metric was flatly not respected use of time. She was a former software engineer for Google. She told me as well that they need usability, number of bugs. Nobody cared. If you couldn't measure it, nobody was interested in it. And the last part, unfortunately, what I can say from many discussions that I had with the former employees, that in spite of the common belief, I think that the average level of Google engineer is mediocre with a lot of arrogance too. Everybody believes that he's the male dominant. It's better than his neighbor. So it's really hard to discuss any issue unless it's your really good friend and you want to have a real discussion, which is very rare in those conditions. Since everybody is territorial and are not interested in your opinions of other unless those people are important. So this was my point of view, and I'll let the floor to Sarah.
Thank you so much, Zakaria, for your feedback. This was very interesting. I would like to thank each one of the present people who have taken part of this discussion. And I would also like to apologize for the few internet issues that we have faced today. And now I would like to open the floor for you people who are here, who have assisted to our discussion. If you have any questions to any one of us that you would like us to answer. Thank you. Okay, we have a question from Hind. Do you honestly think that Google strategy can be implemented in Morocco? As I said earlier, Hind, thank you so much for your question. As I said earlier, I really do believe that the Moroccan people and the Moroccan culture isn't ready yet for the Google system. However, if we are talking about the long run, maybe if we start working on implementing the system and this mindset that Google system has, maybe starting from middle school, high school, university, so that actually those future employees will be used to this kind of working system. Maybe if we reach that level of mindset, we will be able to actually implement the Google system here in Morocco, which I personally think it would be a good plus to our country. However, I don't think we are ready for the moment. Does anyone of the present have additional points? Outside of it, maybe? Outside, are you still with us? I think she has internet issues. Kautar Bouakhri, do you like to add anything?
Well, I'm not really sure. I mean, the whole point of this webinar is to kind of come to a conclusion about whether or not to bring this whole Google framework to Morocco and then implement it in here. So it's very hard to answer with to have a finite, definitive answer about whether or not we should do this and why, because that's the whole point of us being here and discussing this together. So there is no doubt that a lot has been brought as new information as we're gathering here today, but I myself, as I came here to make a decision about the issue, my personal decision is not final either. So The question is very complex. All I can say is that um, there definitely are a lot of advantages in implementing the Google framework and make people commit to that framework, as well as there are a lot of flaws in our Moroccan system, if I may phrase it that way. So as much as I personally kind of lean on the Google side of doing things, that does not make it the better way of doing things. So that is just a personal opinion, really.
Okay, thank you so much, Kautar. I would give the floor to Kautar Rafi, who is uh, the Human Resources Manager.
I just want to add something. Yeah, the Moroccan culture and the society in Morocco is not ready yet to face the Google strategy and the Google framework, but that doesn't mean that we should try. Maybe trying this framework could bring some maturity, some responsibility, some commitment when it comes to people working. For example, when we go and see the Moroccan system, going to your job at 8 and leaving it at 6 and staying all day in a desk cannot is not really a good way and a great way of working. The Moroccan system is always putting pressure on you. The Google system is more like you're creative, you're free, do whatever you want. Maybe given creativity and given freedom to employees will help them bring more, will help them be more productive. So what I'm saying is, maybe for now, the Google framework cannot be implemented in Morocco, but that doesn't mean that it won't be in the future. That we should not give it a try. That's all I want to say.
Okay, thank you so much, Kautar. I actually do agree with you, and that's why I actually do like the Google working system. It's just that
If I may,
we aren't ready for it. So,
if I may just add something.
oh, sure, Kautar, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that the whole point of what we're doing here, and personally the whole point of me being here, is that I don't have a final answer in terms of what is Morocco ready or not ready for in terms of framework. So what I'm trying to, my personal dilemma is that I don't know whether Morocco is ready for Google or not. We cannot say that they're not ready unless we do it and then it doesn't work and we conclude that it's not suitable for our personal for our common cultures. So the idea is that we should find some data in order to make this decision and then implement it and then have an idea about whether it is experiment. But if it were as easy as saying as that, if it was as easy as saying that we're not ready, then the answer would be as easy as let's just forget the whole thing and maintain our current way of doing things. So yeah.
Yeah, sure. I actually do agree with you. Maybe you should start by implementing the Google working system, then we can see if it does work. We can make it something common in the other companies here in Morocco. Thank you so much, Kota. Kota. I have some comments from Mr. Walid, who is right now watching us. Going to read them for you. I love that. Thank you, Mr. Zakaria, for this information. Mr. Zakaria presented great ideas. I believe that we can allow one flexible day during the week. Many companies, such as Unilever, allow their employees to work from home 1 to 2 days per month. I believe that we have to take into consideration the Moroccan mindset and behavior. The Moroccan company should be flexible, but should use their policies and structure to be sure that employees are doing work and being held accountable. We don't judge ideas without doing benchmarking studies. Unilever, for instance, allows its employees working hours for some days, but at the same time holding employees accountable. This is Thank you so much, Farid, for sharing your opinion, your information with us. I think that's very interesting, and maybe like Kauta was just saying, we should try actually to implement the Google working system and see if um, it will work for Moroccans. I see that Unilever, for instance, has started to implement some of the sides of the Google working system. So maybe that's the good path to follow. We should start by implementing the good sides of the Google company one by one, and then let the employees get used to those additional things to our system, and maybe one day in few years or so we will be able to reach completely the Google system, and we will be able to implement it as the official Moroccan working system. So yeah, thank you so much, Walid. Do you have any more input? Sure, I have here Kautar. Yes, Kautar?
So I want to add something. The Google strategy, as we many people said, cannot be implemented in Morocco because we can predict and we can see how people think. We know the culture in Morocco. We know how people think in here. So the majority of us need pressure. I mean, if you don't put pressure on them, they cannot cooperate with deadlines and due dates, and I mean, they can't get their job done. But with the Google strategy system, pressure. We like to believe that people are free, that are creative, and they need their time in order to do their job and what they are best at. So what I'm saying is that we don't really know for sure if the Google framework could work in Morocco, but what we can do is try, and this is the answer. I'm giving the answer to the Mariak. So we should try it, as you said, in order to see if it could work or not. Maybe given freedom and some technology, and giving them a campus, a high quality, great, a beautiful campus where they can work, and maybe push them to they can do whatever they want to do, be creative, and be smart, work better. So what I'm saying is that maybe it could work, and if we do it, and if we avoid putting pressure on them, because in schools, as we can see, in college, in Moroccan high school, I'm talking about the Moroccan high school, everything under pressure. So it's hard to introduce them to a new system in a while. I mean, they can be very, in the beginning, be very surprised, not really adapt to what they are doing. I mean, not really adapt to the system, but that doesn't tell us that they won't work or they can't get their job done. So I think we should try it and see what happens.
Sarah, we can hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me. Okay, I hear you. Um,
Very
I said thank you so much for your input, Kautar. Now we will see if anyone still have any questions before ending up this discussion. Um, some input from Mr. Walid again. He said, I believe that doing research, collecting data from companies could be very beneficial. Trying decisions without research could cost money to the company. I suggest doing a research and collecting data from employees in well-ranked Moroccan companies in terms of employee satisfaction, sorry, could be beneficial. Yes, I do agree with you, Mr. Levy. Thank you so much for your input. And this gives us some ideas, and maybe Kautar, you should start doing some research about the employees, what do the Moroccan employees actually want, and we can see if they are for the Google system to be implemented in Morocco, and we can do some research and get some data, and maybe we can implement actually the Google system in Morocco. So I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you, Zakaria, Kautar Rafir, Kautar Bouakhri, Famar, and Rita for being with us today. It was very interesting, and I like the conversation and the discussion and how the discussion went. So thank you so much, guys, and thank you to all the people who were with us and have taken part of the discussion. And so I just say goodbye and thank you so much. Have a good day.